So, hello everyone. I'm very excited to introduce to you my interviewee for today, Anthony Scilipoti. Thank you for being on my podcast today, and I'm excited to learn about your experience and process of becoming a CEO. So, let's start off by telling me a little bit about yourself and your company.
Thanks, Sedif. It's a pleasure to be here. Um, so, we are an independent equity research firm based out of Toronto, Canada, which means that we um, are paid by the readers of our research. We don't get paid by the companies that we write about. We don't do any trading. We don't get involved in any underwriting or financing. And that's really what sets us apart. And then, in terms that being independent is setting us apart, but that doesn't make us any good at what we do. We have to have some type of angle or niche, and so our niche is in accounting, and the business is grew out of a forensic accounting practice that I had during the '90s, and by accident, while I was teaching at York University, um, one of our students was head of research at a brokerage firm, and he approached us and said, "Hey, can you guys write about some of these accounting scams that you're talking about in school, like Laidlaw and Lowen Group and Newcourt Credit?" What started out kind of by accident, us just writing reports in 1999, kind of for fun, really. We weren't sure if it was going to work. Today turned into a business, and we have almost 30 employees, and we do now a lot more things than just write research.
That's that's awesome. Very unexpected, but turned out to something good.
Mm-hmm.
So, you mentioned that you were a teacher. So, when you were holding your diploma on the stands of your graduation, where did you see yourself in 10 years? And did you ever expect to be the CEO of a company?
Well, I think it really dates back before that. I growing up, I always my family has always had their own. My father's a big role model, and he always had his own business and is a very entrepreneurial guy. And so from a young age, I delivered papers. So here I was, 10 years old, 11. I was delivering papers, and I had my own business there, essentially collecting money, paying. And I took on other paper routes from my friends that were in the neighborhood that didn't want to do it anymore, and then I subcontracted them to do their route only on the days that they wanted to do it. And so that kind of grew into working um, at a at a little small grocery store, specialty store, and that was really tough because they worked us hard, mopping the floor and literally shining apples and getting on your knees and getting in the corners to keep the floors shiny and all that. And it taught me it's a humbling thing. You have to, and being nice to the customers and stuff. It's a humbling thing because I want to say we're really soft now, but in those days, the owners of the business were pretty hard on us. If he didn't
Yeah.
like the job that I did, he after I was finished my shift, or I thought I was, he'd come back and he'd throw the dirty water back on the floor. I remember him doing this a couple times. He said, "It's messy, it's dirty, do it again."
Oh my
And
God.
so, you're saying, becoming CEO. You don't you can start your own business and then boom, you're a CEO, I suppose, if you're the starting person. But if the business is going to grow, whatever it is, whether I'm delivering papers or my another business I had was in sportswear and clothing. Um, you and other people want to essentially be part of your organization. They have to respect that you're going to be the CEO, and that's not just something that just because there's title or letters after your name, it makes you a CEO. It's something in how you treat others, how you are willing to lead, but not lead in a way that you can either walk in front of somebody, beside someone, or behind them. In all different positions, you're leading. And so I think there's times when you need to walk in front
Mm.
because there's a decision that needs to be made and someone needs to make the decision, and you have to be willing to make that decision and the risk that's associated. And then there's times when you have to be beside and say, hey, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to do it just with you.
Mhm.
And then there's other times when you have to say, you know what, I'm going to walk behind you because you know how to do this better than I can. And go ahead and please do it. And
Mhm.
that's very important for growing a business. If you think that, oh, I'm great, I'm going to do everything. Doing everything is great if it's just a business of one person. But if you want to
Mhm.
grow your business and have other business lines and have other operations going on, then you have to build trust, and you have to be able to make decisions and fail quickly, as I like to say.
Definitely. I think that's also very inspiring to know and be open about for CEOs, because I think a lot of times they are just at the top and think that they don't need to do anything at like the bottom levels and just stay at the high level. But I think that's a major
My
misperception.
my uh, my father always told me the fish stinks from the head, and
Mm.
so you have to you if you're not willing to roll up your sleeves, well, you think someone else is going to do it. So
Exactly.
you always have to be. I always look at myself. I have to be the hardest working guy in the firm. They can't
Hmm.
say, "Hey, Anthony's twiddling his thumbs
Hmm.
while I'm here busting my ass." That's not going to work. So it's got to be the same effort that you want from others. You have to push yourself to.
For sure. So did you have any revelations about yourself as an individual throughout your journey?
For sure. Yeah, lots of revelations that you know one of the things is being too nice. Uh,
Hmm.
there's I it's a hard knocks business. Everybody's really working for themselves at the end of the day, and if you want to be a real leader and grow a business, the most important thing is, I think one of the most important things is you have to be willing to put the business in front of you. Your decisions have to be always in the best interest of the business, and it's obviously its clients and therefore its employees. If you're doing what's in the best interest of yourself as the CEO, um, that'll work for a time,
Hmm.
but then they'll reach a point where the employees aren't happy because they want more. The clients are pissed off because they feel they're getting screwed. Suppliers get pissed off because they think you're screwing them, and eventually, yeah, you're the CEO, but you don't have a company.
Hmm.
So you have to be able to make decisions always with the main uh, goal of doing what's right for the company, and that's very difficult. That means that you have no ego.
Hmm.
The ego is the business,
Hmm.
and you have to respect the business. The business is a living, breathing organization and needs love. Sometimes it needs harsh decisions. Sometimes it needs support. Sometimes it doesn't. So you have to treat it that way. Um, and you have to separate yourself from that. And if people don't respect the company, that's the people you can't have working there. If they're doing things always for themselves, that's not good for the company. And those
Hmm.
people have to go. And so the tough things for me I've learned was that sometimes you make mistakes. I like to, I'm not been successful in absolutely every little thing I've done, but I've been more successful than failed, and that's kind of how I got here. But most importantly, I fail quickly, in a sense
Hmm.
that the decision, if it's a mistake, make sure that mistake doesn't take you down. It's a decision. It's a mistake that you just move on quickly.
Hmm.
And uh, and and my learning is that, what, I can make mistakes, and I have to own up to them quickly and be willing to accept them, and because otherwise dragging it on is just that becomes problematic.
For sure. Do you have any tips for any young professionals that when they fail to help them get back on their feet again and not dwell too much on the mistake that they made?
You have to not dwell on your successes, and you have to not dwell on your failures. you
Mhm.
know you can not that you shouldn't celebrate. So, hey, we grew our business to X, and you celebrate that. But the moment that you pause and go, I did this, now I've reached my nirvana, that doesn't work. You have to always be not satisfied. The moment that you're satisfied, someone's moving ahead of you. The
Mhm.
moment that you feel that you've arrived, someone's moving ahead of you. And so it's a it's a lot of sleepless nights. It's a lot of stress. And if you're not willing to have that, then it's okay. Like work for somebody else and not have the responsibility is fine. But there's a Spider-Man saying, with great uh, power comes great responsibility.
Mhm.
Not with great power comes great the great ability or the ability to have more power, etc. No, with great power comes great responsibility, and the responsibility to make sure that the business is doing well. And that means its clients are thriving, its employees are thriving, uh, and it's just about making those decisions quickly. And I guess the advice I would give is uh, the the reason why you don't want to cut away a decision, and the easiest one is hiring someone. So typically you hire somebody, and you obviously want them to succeed, and of course they're going to succeed because you pick them.
Mhm.
And so you don't make mistakes, right? So you hire them, and you notice after a few weeks, they're not quite getting it. And then a month, not so much. And then a month and a half, I don't know. But you go, you know what? No, no, no. He's going to work out. I know. I picked him. I trained him. It's going to work. And then 6 months later, you're looking at it going, shit, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And that decision you should have made 3 weeks in,
Mhm.
not 6 months later, because getting rid of them in 6 months is very problematic. Now you got to pay them. And sometimes that'll go on for years.
Oh
And the same
wow.
thing happens in business. So you make a business decision, I'm going to buy that business over there. And then 6 months in, you realize, this is not working out the way I thought. So you make some changes and you do some things, and 6 months pass and nothing changes. Well, now you have to be able to say, bang, it's
Mhm.
done. That was a bad decision. We're moving on.
Yeah. So you can't get too comfortable and just be able to mitigate your actions. So, what do you wish that all recent graduates would understand about the world of business and being successful?
To have patience,
Mhm.
um, and always remember that there's a journey. You know, I'm almost almost 50 years old, so next year I'll be 50. I had no, when I was in university, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. In my high school days, I was an entrepreneur selling clothes, clothes on the street, selling jackets and hats to school groups and teams, and much more interested in playing sports and such. I had no idea that I would be doing what I'm doing. I didn't even know about stocks and bonds, really. I mean,
Oh wow.
my dad was in the furniture manufacturing business, and so we had real estate, and we had furniture that I knew how to make, and then cabinetry and such. But I had no idea about stocks and bonds. What's all that? And then I stumbled into it, and I was just fascinated by it. And I started, because I did my own accounting for my own businesses.
Mhm.
And then when I studied accounting and commerce, I said, wow, this is really interesting. I can make the numbers whatever I want. I can understand how a business is doing by reading the numbers. I know how to make better decisions by reading the numbers. This is amazing. I can look at these numbers and they tell me a whole story of what happened at the company just based on these numbers. And then I realized that because of my experience in business, and I was able to put pieces together reading the numbers, I had a skill that other people didn't quite see. So I could read the numbers said something to me that they didn't say
Mhm.
to others. And so I just kept working on that. And um, and then I taught other people how to do it. And I want people to do it because they love it. I don't want to hire anybody. I don't want to work with anybody who doesn't love it. If they don't
Mhm.
love it, I don't need them. And so I think the advice I would give is that, it's one step at a time. You have a goal, and it's not about the money. The money
Hmm.
comes after the success. The money comes after you set you become uh, an expert at something. And becoming an expert at something requires focus, not jumping from one job to another after 6 months or 2 years or 3 years. You need to learn. I can't. The biggest thing I see happening today is young people jumping from one job to another. And I get that the economy is more gig, and I get that the economy is moving quickly. But at the end of the day, people run businesses, they don't run themselves. And so if they're looking to hire somebody, they want that person to be at the firm and help it grow. And if they see that this person is only someone, that's been in the last 5 years at three different jobs, they're like, do I want that person?
Hmm. Need the
Do I?
stability.
Because I remember when I hire somebody, it takes a tremendous amount of training and infrastructure to make them work out. And if it's not going to be for some period of time that we're going to be able to make money from, that the business is going to benefit from their involvement of it at the company, then why do it?
Hmm. And
So,
do you have a longer like interview process for it just
oh
to
yeah,
ensure? Hmm.
totally. You have to write a report. You have to meet some staff, and then meet me. Then
Hmm.
go in front of a grilling group where we'll read your report and poke holes in it.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, it's a big process. Uh, there's a saying that says you hire slowly and fire quickly.
Hmm.
And I think some of the mistakes I've made over time are when I haven't fired quickly enough.
And that's also something that you learn as you go through the experience.
Yeah.
So, what are some things that worry you about your business or that you've had worries about?
Well, you worry that that employees aren't happy
Hmm.
because then they'll find some other place to work at. You worry that your clients aren't happy because then they'll find some other supplier. You worry that competitors are doing something that you're not, and they're moving ahead. You worry that that the economy is going to shift, or that the industry is somehow going to shift, and then that's going to cause an abrupt change in your business that you're not ready for. So you need to be aware of all the pressure points that could affect your business. Now, we're in a people business. If I were in a manufacturing business, I would be concerned about the manufacturing process, right? Technological equipment, whatever I'm using. But I'm in the people business. People uh, analyze companies and write research. And so I have to make sure that those people are happy, and that those people are wanting the business to succeed. And if they are, and we're all aligned, then it's going to do great.
And has COVID and the pandemic impacted your work culture tremendously or no?
We're thankfully in business now. It's 20 years, and we have employees that I have one partner. We don't want to have employees. That's the other thing. We have there's 28 employees. But almost 20 of them are shareholders, and that's how I want it to be. If everybody is, everybody has to have, I like to say, skin in the game, and they have to uh, have the best interest of the company at heart, which is what I at the outset I said to you was important.
Mhm.
Um, and now I got sidetracked. What were you just asking me? Sorry.
About the pandemic and how it
Yeah.
impacted you.
So because we have staff that's been with us, one individual, for example, Michelle, she's been with me for the 20 years we've been in business,
Oh,
and even
nice.
before, when we had previous to launch, we were working together. And then I have others 16 years, 17 years, 15, 14, 13. So people have been around a while. And so it's not so much telling them what to do or how to do it, but more being able to make bigger picture decisions, because they're not all in a room where I can actually see what they're doing and how they're doing it. So I like to think that there's two facets to my job. One is tactical. I have certain things I have to do every day. There's certain things I have to do every week, month, etc. Then there's the leadership function, and the leadership function means uh, where you're looking to build culture, where you're looking to provide guidance, where you're looking to make a decision: should we get into this business or that business, or should we expand in this with this group or not? And those are decisions that become difficult when I can't meet my partners, when I can't meet my suppliers, customers. All that kind of stuff becomes more challenging. At the end of the day, think: is someone going to make a business decision worth their billions or millions of dollars of their for their business or their personal wealth? Are they going to do that without looking someone in the eye? And that's still a big part of doing business.
And so you mentioned that you have had employees for a long time, 12 to 13 years. Were there any specific qualities that you looked for in your employees when hiring that stood out to you the most?
Yeah, of course we have that. We have things we look for. They have to be relentlessly curious. They have to be um, strong communicators, confident communicators. They have to be humble. This is very important, because if you're making the market moves every second, information comes every second, and you have to be willing to say, this morning I thought that this company was a buy, something just changed, and now it's a sell for these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just stuck in your ways and say, no, it doesn't matter, no, that doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, then because you believe that you're right all the time,
Mm-hmm.
that's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. So
Sure.
those three sort of qualities are key to I think being successful at what we do.
And I think curiosity plays an important role at a young age too, because when you're entering the workforce, you really don't know much. You have your degree, but not a lot of work experience. So that's very
So
important.
I always said, when I taught at the university more full time. Now I just do guest lectures.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, that piece of paper that you have, it doesn't speak, think, read, write. It's just a piece of paper. You and everybody else has one. So now
Mm-hmm.
what? You got to figure out what's going to make you differentiate yourself. What's going to differentiate you from that piece of paper and everybody else piece of paper. So you better get with it, thinking about it, and recognize that it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. It's not something that's going to happen today. It's going to take time, and it's going to take focus, and it's going to take years. And you think you've made it, but really you've only made and gotten somewhere when someone else recognizes and says, "Oh, that guy's successful. Oh, that guy has a business that I want to be part of." If you can't attract others, customers and supply and employees, then you're not really growing. You're not really you have to. It's the law of attraction, like a
Mm-hmm.
snowball, right?
That's a great way to put it. So, what is what is a big misperception that you had going into business or when you started your company that soon you realized wasn't true?
Something that I didn't realize was true. I think it's really about understanding people. That you just learn about people and how they are self-motivated, and that becomes difficult. Um, that that other than that, other things that I went into business and I learned. No, that's the most important thing.
Cool. Well, yeah, you do spend
People.
your whole day interacting with them and learning about them.
Yeah.
That's true. So, and then a fun question that I like to end it off with is, what is one thing that if you could snap your fingers, you would learn in an instant?
Snap my fingers and learn in an instant.
Yes.
That would be um, wow. What else could I learn that I could learn in an instant? Um, I would get better at being able to read quicker. Uh,
Hmm.
I tend to read slowly. And I guess because I'm always worried I'm missing something.
Right. Rereading.
And I've taken speed reading, and I guess I'm a little faster now. But the speed reading teaches you to look over words and look through words and read the beginning word and the last word and all the drawn between. So I get
Mhm.
all that, but
Yeah.
then I'm all about the details, and so then I get stressed that I'm missing something.
Right.
So there's just so much information out there that I wish if I could snap my fingers. I guess where I'm thinking about the reading is that I could snap my fingers and it'd be only the important things would come to light.
Yeah.
There
For
was a
sure.
magic filter that would say, these are the tweets that I need to look at. These are the articles I need to read. These are the financial statements that matter. Then I could study them.
Mhm.
But the first step is to sift through 100,000 pieces of tweets and twats and all the stuff that you're being bombarded with, blogs and press releases and
Mhm.
journals and then TEDx's, and I'm going to learn something every second, and then you don't actually stop and actually think.
Mhm.
And so I've done a big part in trying to cut myself away from things. I don't read tweets all day long. I don't have time.
Mhm. Yeah.
A lot of distraction, because then you start reading about, oh, I'm interested in sports, and I read this
Yeah.
tweet, and then, oh, I'm interested in housing, and I read that tweet, and then, oh, I'm investing, and then I got that one, and then the
Takes you down
special
a
interest
rabbit
one, and
hole.
then by the time you're done, you passed an hour, and you go,
Yeah.
did I actually learn anything? Did I actually learn anything that's taking me where I want to go? Remember, I
Mhm.
set the goal. I want to be X. I want to get to X point, whatever that is. So then, if what I'm doing is not moving me closer to X, then why am I doing it? So why didn't
Mhm.
you succeed? Well, because you didn't do all the things that you said you needed to do to succeed. So,
Mhm.
and that means cutting out all the things that you don't need that are not taking you where you want to go.
Mhm.
And that's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And in today's environment, it's becoming more and more difficult because we're just bombarded with information. And just here's something to think about that I leave your listeners to. So there are more ways today to communicate than ever before in the history of the world. And yet there's there is a growing loneliness in the world.
Mhm.
We're actually communicating less because we're communicating with that friend that we met online that's in Saudi Arabia, and I'm not picking Saudi Arabia, but in
Mhm.
Afghanistan and in Spain and Italy and you know Charlottetown, wherever the place is. But that person that lives right next door to me, I don't talk to them.
Mhm.
Why would I talk to them? My family? Oh, I don't talk to them. And we've lost sight of the this part of life, which is, we walk down the street and we don't say hi to the person beside us. We walk down the street and we don't talk to. We'll walk by that store every day, but we'll never stop and say hi to the person that works in there.
Mhm.
But that
Uh,
person that we met once on that event will stay group and be a friend chatting with them. But
yeah.
why? What exactly are they adding to your life? If they're not adding anything to your life, the same way like reading that tweet, get rid of them. Like it's a hard decision, but
Mhm.
you'll find you need fewer people, fewer interactions to get to being an expert in something. Someone that people, a friend of mine, does a lot of CEO coaching, and he talks about being sought after. And I alluded to that. Being sought after, I'm sought after by my clients, I'm sought after by my suppliers, I'm sought after by my employees. That's the snowball that I want to see happen.
Mhm. And I think with technology too, it's ironic because we have so many more ways to communicate, but people are losing touch with a lot of people in their lives and not communicating with the people that they should be. And it's sad, but it is the reality that we have now.
When's the last time you picked up the phone and called a friend? But you sent them a text.
Yeah. Or phones are only for like emergencies if you need something
Why
right
can't you
away.
call a person?
Yeah. Everyone
I
just
pick up
wants.
the phone and call people. And my
Mhm.
employees and my partners call people. That's what we do. We pick up the phone and we call
Thank
people.
you. Well, thank you for being on my podcast today. It was a pleasure having you and learning from your experiences.
It's my
Very
pleasure,
much.
Sadaf. Good luck to you and all the listeners. If there's
Thank
any
you.
way I can help you out, by all means, look me up.
Thank you very much.